Good evening. It's August 22nd, 2016, the evening portion of our Inner Circle Mastermind group. I appear to be doing a solo tonight. That's okay. I've been sitting here thinking about how drastically different my life is since my childhood friend, Robert Smith, popped back into my life on Facebook back in April 2010. I had just left an extremely bad marriage and was determined to stay gone this time. It was through learning the techniques, actually on the videos that Robert taught, that helped me understand that I could be in control of that voice in my head that was repeating my former husband's threats and blackmails and all the triggers that he had very deliberately and very skillfully implanted for me, because I was so desperate to be not alone that to be in a bad relationship was better than no relationship at all. I had made a trip to my father's house in Colorado and listened to some books on tape, mainly theology books, trying to straighten out my thoughts, trying to not necessarily find myself, as we're prone to say, but to touch some core of my genuine, real, eternal beingness, to know that I was still in there. When I arrived at my dad's, I had been listening to a book by Scott Peck and his wife that was about Stonehenge. He and his wife were at Stonehenge and describing the magic and mystery of the place, the understanding, the foresight of what it took to wrap your mind around the mystery that that place reflects. And when I got to Dad's, I logged on to Facebook, and there were pictures of Robert Smith at Stonehenge. And as I looked at the pictures, then I started looking at his profile page, and then I found the videos. And then it clicked. The book on tape I had been listening to had actually been an audio tape on cassette that the library at the college where I worked gave away. I had gone through and looked at what they had so that I could fill the hours of driving by myself from Oklahoma to Colorado. And it was one that held my interest, so I picked it up. Now, these 7+ years later, I look back on that event, that trip to the library, that couple of dollars for a, 12 or 14 hour tape series, and realized that the law of attraction was in action. I had desperately wanted to help my bipolar, alcoholic ex-husband to find some peace, some ease, some relief, and sacrificed my own happiness and actually my own well-being and my own safety to try to assist him. And it was actually me that was needing the assistance. So between the videos on YouTube on healing magic and the kind regard of Linda Esser, our first master practitioner who was giving presentations in Oklahoma City, I was able to get the fear triggers not only under control, but released, so that now I could see different possibilities of what my life could look like. And even though it's been 7 years of intimately practicing these techniques, as well as others that I'd learned, I was teaching the Fast EFT mindset to my college students, my graduate students in the business courses, in knowledge management, in emotional intelligence, servant leadership, organizational behavior, the psychology of things, the family dynamics in the workplace. I had actually come up with the same thinking systems, thinking processes through the spiritual direction classes that I had taken, and my master's degree in pastoral ministry, my bachelor's degree in pastoral ministry, my bachelor's degree in business, combining all those. I was teaching the same thing. I just didn't have the tapping piece. And I didn't have permission, if you will, is a good word, to use them all at once instead of exclusively lining them up, using them one after another. That was the genius that Robert brought to the marketplace, to the healing world, to the modality of tapping, is pulling in neurolinguistic programming and breaking hypnotic trance, emotional trance, and guided imagery, all while using meridian tapping to keep the fight, flight, freeze response down. That is true genius. To be so dedicated and have so many questions as to why did that work? My childhood friend, my 7th grade friend, who I've known and remembered since I was 12, made an impact on my life then, and he made an impact on my life again in 2010, and has continued to make an impact, both directly and indirectly, in not only who I'm becoming as I figure out that I have options, but in how I am living as I figure out that I have options. And it's the people that I met in training, especially those first trainings in June 2010, where I was exposed to more of this new way of thinking, the law of attraction. Tammy Stevens told me about my subconscious always listening, and you can't say things like I'm broke and be able to have money. That didn't make sense to me at the time. It took me a while to grasp the difference between the truth of it and the actual reality of it. Susan Gunderson and her kindness, her smarts, her compassion. Linda, again, her leadership, her perseverance, her witness to her own life changes. that small group of people forever changing how I am in my head and who I am in relation to the world. I just returned from a trip to the Holy Land where I spent 12 days seeing at a deeper level new truths of a people who struggle, new truths of a heritage that is disappearing, new stories, deeper stories, archaeological evidence of stories that have both truth and myth woven in them. And it doesn't matter that some of them might be made up, because today I know that it's all made up today. That gives me permission to make it up even better for me. And what I mean by that is not to rewrite the past or the history of Palestine, Israel, Bethlehem, Galilee, Nazareth, not to rewrite what happened 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, or even 100 years ago, or even last week when I was there. But to rewrite in my mind what meaning it has for me, what impact I carry with it, for that's the truth of it. That's the guidance system that stays always with me, that whisper in the back of my mind that I'm learning to no longer ignore, to give credence to no longer dismiss, to allow leadership. As I explore the different possibilities of what I want in my life. When I incorporated my business, I'd been doing coaching and wellness work since 1994 following a back surgery. When I incorporated in 2011, when I was leaving the college, leaving the work world, retiring, as it were, I created Living a Lot. And my tagline was, create the life you want to live into. And yet here, 5 years later, when asked the question, what is it do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? My typical answer, the answer of the childhood of my past, the answer of the wife and mother who used to be in relationship with others, the typical answer inside myself is, oh. But through law of attraction, through infinite possibilities, I've been able to dream and take some deliberate steps. Meditating, I struggle with that sometimes. Visualizing, I struggle with that sometimes. Tapping out resistance, that one I can do. And finding that special, it's almost like a shelf in my imagination where anything is possible. And it's okay just to feel good and reach for a better feeling thought. I don't have to define it with a title or an object that I covet or desire. It's okay that it's just a feeling, that it's delight, that it's joy, that it's connection. Connection is a big one for me. Back to my relationship issues. And that I can use my skill set, my natural skill set, as well as my honed abilities, my practiced and aspired skills, and that I can build a life on that simply because I want to feel better. Quit wasting time, quit waiting. I've waited all my life. 5 decades is long enough. And then I look back on the last year. In the last, we'll say 15 months, this girl has traveled to Mexico on a cruise, took her first vacation ever, gone to training in Greece, spent a few days in Paris, gone twice to Las Vegas for training, had wonderful times with beautiful people and friends, gone on a law of attraction training cruise to Alaska and Canada, and just returned from almost 2 weeks in the Holy Land on a bishop-led trip with amazing people. People 20 years older than me and 20 years younger than me. And it just puts me in awe. So what do I want to do? What do I want to be? I want to do what I'm doing. I want to travel. I want to give presentations. I want to help people understand how to be happy and how to get what they want. And when I can do that with the tools, with the evidence that I have that it can all work out, that serves me. That brings me joy, delight, happiness, oneness with who I am, alignment. So tonight, during this time that is typically scheduled for questions and answers, just wanted to share that. My thanks to Robert Smith, my childhood friend, my mentor, my teacher, and those with whom he has surrounded himself: Linda Esser, Susan Gunderson, Tammy Stevens, and all the others who have touched my life and who have allowed me to touch their lives. Not only is it worth it, it is a springboard of beautiful things to come. Tonight I wish you joy. And if ever I can help, please write me, call me, text me, post something. So it doesn't matter how bad, how desperate, how hopeless things appear. A better feeling thought is just a thought away. Take care. Good night.